Hi and a warm welcome to Smart to Drive. It's great to have you back. I've already featured a number of different boxes on the channel that let you use things like Android Auto or Apple CarPlay in your car, or navigate using an external device and so on. And I've been getting comments over and over again like, hey, my car doesn't have Android Auto or Apple CarPlay at all. Is there still some way I can connect my smartphone to the car? Isn't there an optional solution for that? Or, yeah, I have a Tesla. Does Apple CarPlay or Android Auto work with that too? And now there's a solution for that. That's why I had this device sent over to show you, because with it we can solve all the problems you've brought up in the last few videos. So let's unbox the device together and first take a look at what's included in the package. The first thing that jumps out is the mount for the Tesla. This lets you attach the display, for example, behind the steering wheel. I'm going to test that out in my car in just a moment. If you don't drive a Tesla, you won't need this one because there are plenty of other mounts included. Then I also have a backup camera here. This backup camera is an optional purchase, and you can attach it, for example, to the rear window. And when you're reversing, you can see where you're going, which is actually really practical, I think. If you don't need it, you don't have to buy it, so it's an optional accessory. I'm not even sure if I'll be able to test it today. We'll see about that as the video goes on. So what else do we have here? Here's another mount. This mount should be compatible with pretty much any vehicle. It has a suction cup here that's even sticky, with a protective film on top and the ball head at the front. We also have the option here on the side to loosen and adjust the arm exactly. So you can, for example, attach the whole thing to the dashboard in your car, or to the windshield or the panoramic roof, wherever you want it. Of course, it makes the most sense either on the windshield or on the dashboard, so that the display is always within reach. Then there's a small adapter piece. I'm not going to unbox this one right now, this adapter. It's for if the backup camera has any kind of interference with the constant power supply, then you can connect this in between. Like I said, I'm not sure if I can show the backup camera in this test. I'm not going to install it right now because that would require this long cable. You can then run it along the console or under the trim panels all the way to the back along the side, so you don't see any cables in the car. But I probably won't be able to get the camera working because I'd have to not only connect it here with the jack plug to the CarpodGo T3 Pro, but we also have these power cables here, which probably have to be connected to the reverse gear so that the vehicle recognizes when you're reversing and then the camera turns on. And I'm not going to do that here now because that would be a big project, and I already have a backup camera here in the Tesla. But for anyone who wants to do a bit more tinkering, who wants to upgrade their car, not just with a display for Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, for example, but also wants to use a backup camera, this would be the right thing for you. And here we have an adapter for Bluetooth. With this, if your vehicle doesn't support Bluetooth, you can make it Bluetooth capable, and that's really cool. So if you want to pair your smartphone with your vehicle, but you can't play music over Bluetooth, you can do it with this adapter. There's also a small user manual, nothing special. And then let's get the CarpodGo T3 Pro out and take a look at how it's packaged. So it's a really nice, high quality, sturdy box. And the first thing that catches my eye is this 60 frames per second. The device is actually the first one with 60 frames per second, which is supposed to result in an ultra smooth scrolling experience. So you can scroll really fast according to the manufacturer, but we're going to test all of that. Here you can already see the main screen, which is what this video is actually about. I'll take it out. And on the back, here's the mount again, which can be rotated. This is where the ball head goes in, for example, this one here. I can give it a quick test. We unscrew it, put the head in, screw it tight again. And then the arm is also secure, and depending on how tight you make it, nothing will wobble. If you leave it a bit looser, it can swivel, so it's a really nice mount, I think. This way you can attach the device to the windshield or the dashboard console and so on. Then let's take the device out of the plastic wrap. It's really nicely packaged, I think, so really cool. You can see the wrap is really well placed around the device so that nothing can get scratched during transport. There's also an additional screen protector, which I'll leave on for now. And what we notice right away is that it's a fully laminated display. That means we don't have any unsightly bezels. The display is really made in one piece. It just looks really nice when it's mounted in the car like this. I'll hold it a bit closer here. You can see it's a really nice display. And it's 8.9 inches, so almost 9 inches in size. It's a really decent size. I'll hold it here next to my Tesla screen, which I think is 17 inches if I'm not mistaken. So it's a really good size, especially if I mount it here as a speedometer replacement, for example, behind the steering wheel. Or like this, it looks really good, I think. But you can also just attach it to the windshield somewhere with the suction cup mount. But first, let's take another look at what else is included in the box so we can finish up the unboxing part. Because here we have the power supply. This cable can go into the cigarette lighter and then connects here via USB with the USB-C going into the device itself so that the device gets power. We can see right here that the device has various ports. For one, there's a USB-C power port, and that's where you plug in this USB part. And what's also very, very cool is that we even have another USB-A port here so that while you're using the cigarette lighter, you can still charge or power other devices. That's a really elegant solution, I think. Then here we have another mount with a 3M adhesive pad. You can stick this mount somewhere and then insert the ball joint into it. So you can see there are different mounting options. Here's another plate that can be attached with 3M adhesive on the back. I could, for example, stick this somewhere on my dashboard. And then with this other arm here, at least that's how I do it, you can attach it. Because the console is plastic, the suction cup wouldn't hold well, but on this plate, which you can stick firmly somewhere, you can then attach and detach this mount at any time. Very, very practical, I have to say. And then we have a few more 3M adhesive strips, so you have various other mounting options. Here's another mount, also with a small ball joint. I'll have to see what else you can do with that. So there are really different options for how you want to attach the device. And additionally, here's an adapter, a USB cable, USB-A on one side, USB-C on the other. So basically, if you don't have a way to use USB-A, you can plug this USB-C connector into the car and then connect a USB cable to the other end. Also included is a multilingual user manual, French, Italian, Spanish, English, and of course, German. Let's see if it focuses. There we go. And it's also illustrated, so you can really see what mounting options you have and what all the accessories mean, what you can do with them. It also says here that the rear view camera is an optional accessory. There's also an optional FM transmitter. The device connects to the vehicle, but you have several options. The most convenient, and 90% of all modern cars have this now, is of course via Bluetooth. So if you pair the device via Bluetooth, then you have the car's speakers. Everything you select on the CarpodGo T3, play music or whatever, then comes out of the car's speakers. And you can use the steering wheel controls, so the buttons on the steering wheel, to navigate through the menu. And you can also use the car's integrated microphone, if the car has one, so a hands-free system to communicate with the device. If you don't have Bluetooth, you could use an aux cable, which is also optional, to connect the device to the vehicle. So if the radio you have has an aux input, then it's also possible to connect the device with a cable, because we have here, I have to look, a microphone input and an AV in input and an audio input. I'll hold it a bit closer, then you can hopefully see it. I hope the camera focuses on it. So various options to connect the device to the car via cable. Then you also have full audio compatibility in the car. And if that's not an option either, there's a third way, and every car can do this. You just need an FM radio. It has an integrated FM transmitter. That means you select FM transmitter in the menu, pick a radio frequency that isn't playing any music, so no station is being received, and then you select the same radio station in your car. Then the car basically receives this device like a radio station and plays the audio through the car's speakers. Of course, a cable or Bluetooth works best, but an FM transmitter is also a common solution. That's how it was always done in the past, so if you have an older vehicle, this will work too. Not only that, the device also has a light sensor integrated in the back. This means when it detects darkness, it switches from the white screen to the dark screen so you're not blinded at night. And that's a great feature that very few portable devices actually have. And to give you the dimensions, we have 23 centimeters in width, 10 centimeters in height, and it's 2 centimeters thick. If you don't count the mount, then you have a thickness of 2 centimeters, so I think it's really compact. It does have some weight to it, I have to say, but that shouldn't be a problem because we have plenty of mounts that were made specifically for it. First, I'd like to try out the car mount for the Tesla, because I think that's quite interesting for all Tesla drivers, including myself at this point. So it doesn't matter which one you use, but I'll just see if I can get it to hold properly here in the car. With these 3 clips that are here, I'll look for the grooves in the ventilation grill and make sure it's relatively centered behind the display. There, it's already clicked in. And that's it. The whole thing is holding. This is what it looks like now here behind the steering wheel, so it's really cool. I'll film it once from the side here. So here in these ventilation grills, the mount can simply be clipped in. Nothing can fall out. There are these barbs on the back, so that's really well made, I think. and then you'd have a display behind the Tesla's steering wheel. I really like it, I have to say. How to attach the device is one thing, but what I'm more interested in at this point is what the menu is like and what the display's interface looks like. But before we turn it on, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and activate the little bell so you won't miss any future videos. It doesn't cost you anything, you support my channel, and you really won't miss anything else in the future. Also, feel free to share the video with friends and relatives who are interested in electromobility, cars, and car accessories. I would really appreciate that. Oh, and before I forget, the device has an ultra-strong magnet, so you can see you have to pull on it pretty hard. And because of that, even when it's firmly on the mount, you can take it off at any time, take it home, do whatever you want with it at home, maybe install software updates, or if you want to use it at home with your PC, that's also an option. I could say I want to connect my smartphone to it and also put it on my desk, so you can just take it off at any time, which is really brilliant, I think. Wow. So the magnet is really quite strong, you really have to say that. But it has to be, so it can hold this weight. Really good. Nevertheless, the manufacturer wrote to me that you should always attach the mount in such a way that the device still rests on the dashboard. This simply has the advantage that the magnetic mount doesn't have to hold the full weight of the display. Then I'd say, let's wire it up to the power now. You could choose a USB cable here. I can also test the cigarette lighter directly now. Because I have the cigarette lighter down here in the dashboard console, I'll just plug it in here now. And then we have here, let me see, right, we have a USB here. One is for the power supply and the other is, for example, to play USB sticks. Then we also have a microphone input and then the various connections for the aux cable or, for example, for the backup camera. I'll just plug it into one of them in the back now. And now the device should theoretically start up on its own. No, I think I still have to press the power button on the bottom. Ah, yes, now it's starting up. And the manufacturer also stated 12 seconds from 0 to 100. That means the device boots up in 6 seconds, and in another 6 seconds, it has already completely paired with the smartphone, so it's ready to go in 12 seconds. So I think you saw how quickly it booted up now, and that's really brilliant, I have to say. So I'd say, let's see how we can get this all connected. I'll go to Android Auto. Now I'll grab my smartphone. Okay, I'm supposed to turn on Bluetooth and connect to PND79D6. That means I'll go to the Bluetooth settings here and look at the bottom. Right, there it is, PND79D6. Go to pair here. Let's see what happens. I'm connected. Android Auto connecting, please hold on. So that should be it. Yep, now my smartphone is asking if we want to allow it. I'll say continue. It's really simple, as we can see. And boom! And I'm already connected, as we can see. And the cool thing is, sound comes directly from the car speakers. You can hear it. I'll turn it down, otherwise I'll get a copyright strike. Yeah, cool. So that worked really great. Here I can now turn on my YouTube music. And let's look at the other apps. That also works wonderfully. It's also really smooth, right? So you can really notice those 60 frames per second. Really good. Extremely smooth. So these are basically the apps that I have here on my smartphone. So what I can already see here is that there are swipe gestures with which I can switch to night mode here. And if I swipe down again, then day mode comes up. That works with your finger basically, but also the light sensor behind the device will automatically detect when it's dark and will then also automatically make the screen darker so you're not blinded. I can also say something here now. So you can see Google recognizes it too. That works through the Tesla's microphone because I'm connected via Bluetooth now. I'll cancel that now. And we can also make phone calls here. So I can now scroll through my call list here and call various friends, family, anyone, and then make the call using my phone's hands-free system. So let's exit Android Auto now. I'm here in the main menu. This is what it looks like. We see the time. And if we go to the Bluetooth symbol here, we can then set whether we want to use the dual BT mode, display only, to play audio from the device, which is what we have now. This means the smartphone is connected to the display and the sound comes from the car's speakers. FM would be the FM transmitter, where you set a frequency. Or would also be possible, and there's an integrated speaker, which we can test as well. I'll go to speaker here, because it also has speakers here on the back, as you can see in these ventilation grills, and sound can also come from these speakers. So if you have no way at all to connect the device via FM transmitter, Bluetooth or cable, You still have the option to simply play the sound from the device itself. We'll test that right now. And we can hear that the sound is definitely coming from the speaker here. I only played it very briefly so I don't get a strike from YouTube. Then you can go to the gear icon down here. Language. So then we can set the whole thing to German. We can set the date and time. 5:25 a.m. is also not correct right now. I can adjust that as well. You can also switch to 24-hour format here. We have the year 2025, we have July, today is July 18th, so it's really, the display also reacts really well to my fingers. And we now have, what do we have now? 10:14 exactly in the morning, so 10:14. Okay, we can also see the time has been applied. Perfect, that works wonderfully too. Camera settings, I can see you now. What else do we have? Bluetooth, here you can see what you are connected to. My smartphone is visible here right now. Auto connection, so that it starts automatically. Here you can also set the night view so that at a certain time it automatically switches the brightness to night mode. Then we have brightness here. Yeah, you can already see that the display gets really nice and bright. At night you can dim it, and the light sensor would now automatically ensure that the device isn't too bright when it gets dark outside. We can now set different backgrounds here, so wallpapers, whatever best suits the vehicle. That actually looks pretty cool, I'd say. Logo, and this is also really cool. I could now choose a logo from various manufacturers here. When the device then boots up, that appears. I'll select Tesla here, since I have a Tesla, set as logo. And then we'll test it right away when I turn the device off and on again to see what happens. CarPlay settings, here's 60 frames per second. You should definitely set that. That after a 10-second timeout, it returns to CarPlay. If I don't press anything now, it automatically opens CarPlay again. And the right-hand side of the driver's side. So if there's a right-hand drive vehicle somewhere here, which we don't have here, then that can be adjusted. Here you can adjust the volume for navigation, media, and phone. Audio output, speaker mode. Exactly, now we'll just switch back to Bluetooth only. What's above is irrelevant now. And here on the About Us page, you can install an update if one is available, which is also really nice. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. Yes, otherwise the brightness, that takes you directly back to the menu. There's nothing special about it. What do we have here? CarPlay. I don't have an Apple device right now, so I could use Apple CarPlay here. That should pretty much be it. Ultimately, it's really just a CarPlay or Android Auto device. There aren't many more functions. And you see, that was this little check mark, 10 seconds. If you do nothing during those 10 seconds, that's what it ultimately means. The device automatically switches back to CarPlay mode. Really very nice, like Electroverse or EV Map, for example. Especially as an electric car driver, you often have some sort of issues, charging apps, Mobility Plus and so on, or the Parkstar apps, Easy Park app, or whatever else you might use. Can you use WhatsApp and so on here too? If I wanted to use the device here in the Tesla, then I would consider how to route the cable. One option would be to stay here in the ventilation slot, using the USB cable, then perhaps coming out from behind the display here and then along this path. One could then simply go underneath the dashboard to the side. For example, I've already connected my dashboard console here, which I can use to open and close the passenger seat and the trunk and so on, adjusting the passenger seat and so on. I also laid the cable along here below. Or you can go down the door panel to the left and then up under the seat to the cigarette lighter. So there are different options, or you can just go plug it into the USB port down here, where you already have USB cables, and then up here. Well, there are various possibilities, and otherwise it's different in every vehicle. Depending on where you mount it on the window, you can usually lay the cable along under these panels as well. You just have to look at it individually to see how it works best. The reversing camera can now simply be plugged in here at the back using the long cable. It is then essentially already connected to the device. Unfortunately, I can't test it here because there's no signal coming from the reversing camera. That's a shame, because ultimately I would now need to connect these small power cables to the reverse gear or the reversing light. That would exceed the effort required for this video, but it is definitely possible. As you can see, simply connect and lay the cables. And you can also have a reversing camera here, and I think that's a great upgrade for this device. I'll test it on the glass now, so I've tried it out too. That would work perfectly. So for example, I could simply attach it to the window here or stick it on my dashboard. And then there's this part. You can also stick this on here and then attach the suction cup here. You could also stick it directly onto the dashboard. Depending on how smooth it is, that can also work. We can test that too, so I'll just do it right here. I'll just stick it on here now. Flip the lever and there you go, it holds, it holds. So there are really good options for mounting the device here, no problems with the suction cup. On the side it works wonderfully. So let's summarize. The film just came off because I got caught on it. That's a shame, but oh well. This device is almost 9 inches. It has a really good resolution, 60 frames per second in terms of smoothness. We have the sensor that detects if it's dark or light outside. We can play audio in the vehicle through various channels via Bluetooth, an FM transmitter, the AUX cable, and it has a built-in speaker. So it's really cool, intended for any vehicle that doesn't have Android Auto or Apple CarPlay yet. Either older cars without displays, Teslas, because they don't have Android Auto, for example, and also no speedometer behind the display. With the mount, you can place it really nicely behind the steering wheel. So really a lot of functions. By the way, you can get the device on Amazon and directly from the CarpodGo online shop. It's a bit more expensive on Amazon. I'll put both links in the video description below for you. And with my discount code SMART2DRIVE, you get a $50 discount. That's about 45 euros. So if you buy it directly from the manufacturer, you're buying in dollars. The device normally costs $249 there. As of today, you only pay $199. That's currently around 170 euros. On Amazon, it costs a bit more, but it's directly in euros, so you can do as you please. Both options exist, links in the video description and the discount coupon as well, of course. So I think I've pretty much concluded the Android Auto Apple CarPlay video series now. I've already presented a lot of devices, but after that, many people always called out and asked in the comments, isn't there a device with its own display, because I don't have a display in my car at all. But I also want to connect my smartphone with Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, play music through the phone's speakers and so on. That's possible with this now and I hope you liked it. Feel free to give me a thumbs up. Feel free to subscribe to the channel, activate the little bell and tune in again next time if you like. Thanks for watching. It was me, Alex. Bye bye. This video is brought to you by HeyGen, the innovative fitness bike that perfectly combines sports and entertainment. The HeyGen G1 M Plus T brings a real studio feeling to your home. Thanks to its compact design and wheels, it is easy to move and can be stored to save space. With the stepless magnetic resistance technology, you can flexibly adjust your training at any time. But the highlight is the 21-inch display, tiltable and rotatable with an integrated Bluetooth speaker for clear sound and full motivation. With the HeyGen app, you can follow exciting routes from all over the world. And the best part is, thanks to screen mirroring, you can also use apps like Peloton and get an experience for which you would normally pay a good 5 times as much. And of course, you can also watch YouTube videos while you're at it, or listen to your favorite music, anything you're in the mood for. Just connect your smartphone or tablet and you'll have everything on the big screen. So if you'd like to make your training smarter and more entertaining, feel free to check the link in the video description. And with the discount code SMART2DRIVE, you'll even save 100 euros on the fitness bike. Have fun riding.